Hey everyone, I want to give you some practical tips of how to streamline your caffeine consumption when it comes to coffee. And if you've heard me talk about coffee, I do love it, but it can be a slippery slope. So if people are surviving on coffee where they actually need it to get through the day, then that can become a problem. And obviously that has to do with the need for more caffeine. So if you love your coffee and you feel like, hey, I may need to titrate down on my caffeine consumption, these are some practical tips that you can use. Now behind me, I have written out the general amount of caffeine for brewed coffee versus espresso. So if you look over here, I have brewed coffee, brewed decaf, espresso, and then espresso decaf. Now I know there's all kinds of different types of coffee, cold brew, etc. But this is for people that are traveling, for mostly people that go to Starbucks or coffee shops, and there's brewed and then there's espresso where you can get. So these are general amounts that they found with milligrams of caffeine in these types of coffee. So brewed decaf, espresso, espresso decaf. Now with the amounts, we're looking at the size. So with the regular brewed cup of coffee, 8 ounces, so 237 mLs. It's about 95 to 200 milligrams of coffee. Depends on how fast the water is going through the coffee, if it's soaked, whichever. And decaf, there's about 2 to 12 milligrams. And then if espresso for 30 mLs, which is just 1 ounce, you're getting between 47 to 75 milligrams of caffeine. And obviously it depends on the machine and so forth. So these are just general numbers. And then decaf, you're getting between 0 to 15 milligrams. I would err towards maybe 7 milligrams because you will get some caffeine from decaf. But one way to think about it is that if you drew 2 cups a day, well, instead of going with 2 regular cups, because that's going to be 400 milligrams on the upper limit, the first one maybe you go 200, and then the second one you go with decaf. So you're overall decreasing about 200 milligrams of caffeine. Now the other option is you can go half-half. So what you can do is you can do half a cup of regular and a half a cup of decaf. Then that way you can sort of spread out your caffeine throughout the morning if you want to do that. Other people, they want all their caffeine in their first cup and nothing later because they might be sensitive to caffeine and it might affect their sleep. The other way that you can think about it is if you're really trying to reduce your caffeine, but you still want to enjoy your coffee and the acids in there and the bioflavonoids, what I recommend people do is they get an Americano. So with espresso, it's 1 ounce. So what you could technically do is you can do 2 shots of espresso and then you get about 150 milligrams of caffeine. So that's less than 1 cup of brewed coffee. Now, for me, I love the taste of coffee. The darker, the better. Like the darker roast, I want it like super dark. So for me, brewed coffee is it's like drinking tea, basically. I'd rather just not even drink it. And so what I oftentimes will do is because 2 shots of espresso, it's like, and you're done. So there's nothing for you to kind of enjoy, and I like to have it when I'm working. So what I'll do is I'll do 4 shots. And you're going, whoa, that's a lot. But people don't realize is that although espresso tastes stronger, it has less caffeine because it's less exposure to the water, etc. But what I'll do is I'll do 2 shots of espresso, regular, and then 2 shots of decaf. So for example, go to Starbucks and get a half-calf quad shot. So now, if we look at the upper limits, that's 150 milligrams plus another 30, so 180 milligrams. So it's still generally less than a cup of brewed coffee, but it's really, really strong the way I like it. So as you can see, there's all kinds of ways to sort of streamline your caffeine consumption. So what you can do for some people, even as there's another idea is go with a brewed decaf, and you want it a little stronger, so you just get 1 shot of espresso. So these are just some practical tips of how to lower your caffeine intake, but yet still enjoy your coffee and get the benefits from antioxidants, bioflavonoids, etc. So hopefully this is helpful for anybody out there that loves their coffee. Until next time, eat well to feel well.